One night, Neville came to Abdullah with worry all over his face. He said what millions of people say every day: I just want to be prepared, in case it doesn't work. Abdullah snapped. He stood up from his chair, stared into Neville's soul and said, Prepared? Prepared for what? Neville tried to explain himself. Abdullah wouldn't let him finish. You are practicing the thing you fear. You are rehearsing the event you do not want. And you wonder why it meets you? Then Abdullah slammed the door in Neville's face. Neville stood frozen in the hallway. And here's the open loop most people miss. Abdullah wasn't angry because Neville doubted. He was angry because Neville was performing a ritual of failure without realizing it. And Neville wasn't done making mistakes. He rehearsed small failures too. He'd imagine a letter not coming. He'd picture someone saying no. He'd rehearse an argument before it happened. He prepared emotionally to be disappointed, so he wouldn't be surprised. Abdullah later said this behavior is the #1 reason people stay stuck. You rehearse the disappointment, and then you pretend to be shocked when the disappointment arrives. A few minutes later, Abdullah opened the door again. He pointed at Neville's forehead and said, You practice failure here, and then you act surprised when it enters your world. Neville asked, So what do I do? Abdullah didn't blink. Rehearse the scene you desire, or rehearse the scene you fear. The law does not discriminate. But the lesson wasn't over. Abdullah gave Neville an assignment, and this assignment nearly broke him. For the next 3 days, Abdullah said, you will rehearse only the outcome you desire. No exceptions. Neville nodded. Abdullah raised a finger. If I hear one sentence of worry, if I sense one thought of preparing for failure, you start again from day one. This wasn't visualization. This wasn't affirmations. This was inner discipline, the discipline of the tongue no one else hears. Neville left determined. Day 1 went well. Day 2 went terribly. Neville slipped into imagining something going wrong, a tiny thought, a moment of protection, and the second he noticed it, panic hit him. He ran back to Abdullah's apartment and knocked hard. Abdullah opened the door. Neville said, I lost it. I imagined the failure again. Abdullah looked at him and slammed the door again, harder than before. This is the pattern break. This is the shock moment. Abdullah wasn't being cruel. He was showing Neville the violence of his own inner rehearsing. He was showing Neville the impact of the negative scene he kept practicing in secret. Abdullah wanted Neville to feel what he was doing to his own future. Every negative rehearsal is you slamming the door on your own desire. Neville walked away shaken. He found a bench on West 72nd Street and sat alone. And for the first time in his life, he listened, truly listened, to his inner talking. He heard worry rehearsing the next problem. He heard fear rehearsing the next disappointment. He heard, I should be ready in case this doesn't work. He heard, I don't want to get my hopes up. And he realized he was practicing the very reality he didn't want. He wasn't a victim of circumstances. He was a victim of his rehearsals. Neville stood and walked back to Abdullah's door. But this time he didn't knock out of panic. He knocked from certainty. Abdullah opened the door slowly and said one word. Better. Not because Neville succeeded, but because he finally stopped failing in his mind. Neville stopped rehearsing disappointment. He stopped practicing delay. He stopped performing the ritual of fear, and this moment transformed him. This was the moment he actually became Neville Goddard. Abdullah sat him down and said, You have one enemy. It is not the world. It is not other people. It is the inner conversation you practice the most. Then he gave Neville the line he never forgot. To rehearse failure is to pray for it. Neville never made that mistake again. And after you hear this next sentence, neither will you. Your life is the echo of your rehearsals. Most people don't struggle with imagination. They struggle with preparation. They prepare for the delay. They rehearse the disappointment. They practice the worst-case scenario. and then they meet exactly what they practiced. Neville stopped rehearsing failure, and his entire life changed. If your life isn't moving, don't do what Neville did. Stop rehearsing the thing you fear. Begin rehearsing the thing you want. And next time, we'll go deeper into the lesson Abdullah said was even more powerful than this one. The truth about inner speech, the only form of prayer that ever worked. In the zone of the unseen,